Hello, I'm Dawn Burnett, and I teach English here at Excelsior Classes. And today I want to talk to you about apostrophes. The apostrophe is a tiny little punctuation mark that causes a lot of trouble, and I want to clear up some of that trouble for you today. Here are some signs that I have taken pictures of around my community or when I'm traveling. This is one of my favorites here. We see examples of people using an apostrophe to make a word plural, and we don't need to do that. And we also see examples of people leaving out apostrophes. So let's dive in and see what the rules are for making plurals and possessives and plural possessives. We all pretty much know that if we have one dog and he owns the house, that we're going to use an apostrophe S. That one's pretty straightforward. Always with an apostrophe S, look before the apostrophe and ask yourself, do I have a real word? Dog, yes, real word. Is it the word I really mean? Does the house belong to one dog? If so, then you have used the apostrophe S correctly. Let's look at a name. What if Fred owns the house? Same rule, Fred is a singular noun, so we're going to add an apostrophe S. Okay, does the house belong to Fred, the word before the apostrophe? Yes, so we're good there. How about Amy? If it's Amy's house, again, an apostrophe S. How about Joe? You seeing a pattern here? The house belongs to Joe, so it's Joe apostrophe S. But here's where we get in trouble. This one blows people's minds. When we see Russ, it ends in an S, so that must change the rule. Maybe I need just an apostrophe. No, to do Russ's house, we still add an apostrophe S. The fact that Russ's name ends in an S doesn't change the rule. It's not his fault his name ends in an S. Nothing changes. Same rule applies. Add the apostrophe S, look before that apostrophe. Do you have a real word? Yes. Is it the word you really mean? If the house belongs to Russ, then yes. All right, so let's look at making words plural. If I have two dogs or more, I'm going to add an S, not an apostrophe S. I don't use an apostrophe to make a word plural, only to make it possessive. But what if I have more than one dogs, and they own the house together? So then I'm going to add just an apostrophe. All right, so again, if I look before the apostrophe, I have a real word, dogs, and the word I really mean. The house belongs to multiple dogs. Okay, so the rule for a plural noun is adding just the apostrophe. How about illness? If I want more than one illness, of course, I don't want any illness. If I want more than one illness, I'm going to add ES, not apostrophe S. That's possessive. I only want it to be plural. So what if those illnesses need to be possessive? I'm talking about the effects of the illnesses. Just an apostrophe because I have a plural noun. And if I look in front of the apostrophe, I see that I have a real word, illnesses, and the word that I really mean, the effects of the illnesses. All right, what about family? Well, family changes its form when it goes plural, right? We have to change that Y to an IE and then add the S. But again, it's not an apostrophe S. We change the spelling of families. But what if those families own the houses? Just the apostrophe because I have a plural noun. I'm going to use just an apostrophe. Look before that apostrophe. Do I have a real word? Families? Yes. Is it the word I really mean? Do those families own the houses? Yes. So I've used that apostrophe correctly. What about a last name? Mrs. Burnett. And if it's my house, we add the apostrophe S. We talked about that already. That makes sense, right? But what if I'm trying to make Burnett plural? I want to talk about not just Mrs. Burnett, but all the Burnetts in the family. I'm going to add just an S, not an apostrophe S. So when you send out your Christmas cards, it's not Merry Christmas from the Burnett apostrophe S or even Burnett's apostrophe. There's no ownership. It's just plural. All right, now what if those Burnetts together own the house? Again, just the apostrophe because we already have a plural noun. If we look before that apostrophe, we have a real word and the word that we really mean. All right, but again, what happens when that name ends in an S? That's where confusion comes in. If it's Mrs. Jones's house, what do? I still add the apostrophe S because there's only one Mrs. Jones. The fact that her name ends in S doesn't change anything. But what if I want to make Jones plural, more than one Jones? Joneses. Now, if the Joneses own the house, I use only the apostrophe because Joneses is plural. A plural noun takes just the apostrophe. All right, what about a noun that's plural but doesn't end in S? Well, there we have to use an apostrophe S. We need an S in there and we don't have one yet. But sometimes people want to do this. And here, if we look, we have the apostrophe. Look before it. Do we have a real word? Look, there are a bunch of children's over there. No, that's not a real word. So we know that we've used that apostrophe incorrectly. It needs to go before the S so that we have a real word before the apostrophe. Let's look at another one. Men, men's house. Look before that apostrophe. Do I have a real word? Men, yes. Is it the word I really mean? If they own that house, then yes, it is. Not here, because before that apostrophe, I have men's, which is not a real word. That's kind of a double plural, isn't it? Look at all those men's over there. No. All right, when we get to pronouns, then it gets a little bit confusing too. People see yours and they think, well, that's a possessive pronoun. If it's possessive, it must need an apostrophe, but it doesn't. In a possessive pronoun, the possession is already built in, so we don't use an apostrophe. All right, look at these. Would you use an apostrophe in his? Where would that go? There? No. We don't need that. The possession is already built in to his. Or how about here? Obviously not. The possession is already built in. That brings us to its. As a possessive pronoun, the possession is already built in here too. But what confuses people is that this is a word also. So we accidentally interchange these sometimes. So this word means it is or it has, and it only ever means it is or it has, and it never means anything else. It's never a possessive pronoun. This is your possessive. This is your contraction. It is or it has. And this is not a word ever, anywhere, in any way. All right, never a word. All right, so that brings us to your and your. Same thing, this is a possessive pronoun. Obviously no need for an apostrophe, there's not even an S on there. But here people think, well, maybe I need this one because there's an apostrophe. No, this is not possessive. This means you are. It's a contraction. We put that apostrophe in where we left out the A. All right, so let's review. If I'm going to make a noun plural, then I'm going to just need to add an S or an ES, not an apostrophe, to make it plural. So one cat, two cats. One boss, two bosses. One smith, two smiths, no apostrophe. One oxen. Sometimes we change the whole form of the word to make a plural, and then we don't need to add an S or an ES, and sometimes the same word is singular and plural. All right, so if we have a noun that ends in S, or actually, hold on, let's look at these three first. What about these three here? CD. Surely we need an apostrophe there to make that plural because it's an acronym, right? No, we're still going to just put an S because here we have a singular noun and we just need the S, no apostrophe unless it's possessive. How about video? Just an S. 1980s? That's right, just an S. We don't need that apostrophe unless we're making it possessive. All right, so to recap, if I have a singular noun, I'm going to add an apostrophe S. Cat, the cat owns the toys. Boss, singular noun, the boss owns the rules, or they're his rules. If I have a plural noun ending in S, I'm just adding an apostrophe. More than one cat, the cats own the toys. More than one boss, the bosses own the rules. If I have a plural noun that doesn't end in S, I add an apostrophe S. So you see, usually it's an apostrophe S. The women own the shoes. The cacti own the flowers. With a possessive pronoun, I don't need an apostrophe at all. The possession is already built in. All right, I hope that those rules make apostrophes a little more clear for you, and that next time you need to use an apostrophe, you will remember those rules. Have a great day.